On World News Tonight this Wednesday, an agreement to end the war. NATO forces are about to enter Kosovo. In the Congress, the gun control debate suddenly gets very agitated. The NRA is accused of virtually writing legislation. And our closer look at mental health, the difference between what people need and what HMOs will pay for.
From ABC News, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Macedonia.
Good evening. They finally made a deal. But it was a struggle here in Macedonia today as NATO and the Yugoslav military commanders try to get closure on a plan that will now actually end this phase of the crisis over Kosovo. They had on again, off again talks all day. NATO had no intention of making the final hours any easier. NATO is determined that when its troops go into Kosovo, which they will do very shortly now, NATO will have the legal support of the international community, even though Kosovo will still be a legal part of Yugoslavia. Our first report is from ABC's Jim Wooten.
It was the middle of the evening when General Sir Michael Jackson strode from the tent to tell the world that after a very difficult day and exactly 11 weeks of bombing, NATO had prevailed.
I have some very good news.
The Serbs had finally signed, agreed at last to pull their troops out of Kosovo.
The fact that this document has now been agreed represents the hope of a better future in which we can rebuild Kosovo and restore some normality to the lives of its ordinary citizens, regardless of their ethnic background.
And yet the Serbs, as everyone expected, managed to claim their own victory.
We are the moral winners, Kosovo. Thank you very much.
We are the moral winners, said the ranking Serb civilian. And Serb generals said, just as President Milosevic had demanded all along, the troops that now deploy in Kosovo will be under UN supervision, not NATO. Not true. They will be under direct NATO command, with a UN resolution merely authorizing their presence in Kosovo. That was the last snag between the Serbs and their signature. NATO held firm, and they gave in. General Jackson said NATO reserves the right to bomb again if the Serbs don't keep their word. But after 77 days, it looks as though it's finally over. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Kumanovo, Macedonia.
This is John McWethy at the Pentagon. Additional U.S. troops are already moving into position, but Pentagon officials say it could still be several days before any NATO peacekeepers actually roll into Kosovo to begin their work. In Kosovo itself, Yugoslav troops have begun early preparations for a withdrawal, bringing in heavy trucks photographed from the air by NATO that would be used to transport tanks out of the area. By morning, U.S. officials expect the first large movement of Yugoslav forces from the northern part of Kosovo. To show good faith, they must be substantially out of this zone in one day, at which point NATO could stop the bombing. Yugoslav troops near the borders of Albania and Macedonia must be out in 5 days, with the full withdrawal taking longer.
At the end of 11 days after the entry into force of this agreement, within that 11-day time frame, all Serb forces, paramilitary forces, police, have to be removed.
They were given 4 days longer than NATO originally demanded. Yugoslav generals argued they simply could not do it faster because of bombed-out roads and lack of fuel. John McWethy, ABC News, the Pentagon.
In Yugoslavia today, there is enormous political tension created first by the defeat in Kosovo and then by the widespread destruction, which so many people think is an utter waste. ABC's Bob Woodruff reports from Belgrade tonight that people are struggling now to get beyond the war.
From his apartment in Belgrade, Milan Sarcevic has spent his nights videotaping this war, the nightly anti-aircraft fire, his wife and daughter huddling in the dark, a missile hitting their neighborhood. Watch the streak of light coming from the right.
It just came like this, hit there, and then I ran into the house.
Sarcevic was a successful food importer, a business he now plans to rebuild.
We'll try to get our lives together again, to live like all normal people in the world live.
Many others say they have given up on Yugoslavia. A lawyer, now jobless. a mechanical engineer tending bar. There is no good work here, they say, no future. They want to leave the country.
If I get the opportunity to go, I will go.
Leaving now is impossible. As long as Yugoslavia is under martial law, every man 18 to 60 years old is required to stay, just in case the army needs them. Then again, if this war is truly ending, martial law could soon be lifted. Travel agents say if that happens, they expect to be flooded with thousands of visa applications. 2.5 months ago, proud and defiant, the Serbs were talking about dying for their country. Now, nearly defeated, many are talking about leaving it. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, Belgrade.
Later in the broadcast, the refugee hysteria, as one official called it, to get out of the Balkans altogether. But first, Kevin Newman, who's in New York, has some of the day's other news. Kevin?
And Peter, we're going to take a short break, but when we return, catching illegal gun sales on camera. Is Congress working to tighten loopholes or make them wider? And treating mental illness. Are too many pills being prescribed to save HMOs money?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Kellogg's.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, there's bound to be one where you're headed. You can pretty much bet on it. Days Inn. There you go.
Joseph.
Yes, Papa.
There is an enemy that threatens all weeds. It is the spray.
So, we'll bribe it.
The spray does not respond to bribes.
What's the world coming to?
Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem.
Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
Does tossing one of these into your tank kill germs? Well, here's one way to be sure. Lysol Continuous Action Automatic Toilet Cleaner. It not only cleans, it kills germs. No other automatic toilet cleaner kills more. You have our word on it.
Nobody does it like you.
She deserves a carpet that's deep down clean. And only Hoover gives you wind tunnel technology. Power to pick up more dirt than any other clean air upright. Hoover. Deep down, you want Hoover.
In Washington today, an accusation from President Clinton of arm twisting of the highest order. As members of the House wrestle with a new gun control bill, the president charged House Republicans with taking orders from the gun lobby. Here's ABC's Linda Douglas.
Democrats charge that the Republican gun control legislation is riddled with loopholes crafted by the National Rifle Association.
It is a bill plainly ghost-ridden by the NRA. I think it is wrong to let the NRA call the shots on this issue.
One NRA official told ABC News 90% of the measure was, quote, our stuff. The House proposal would weaken some of the restrictions on gun shows passed by the Senate just 2 weeks ago. For example, the Senate bill required background checks for sales at gun shows where 50 or more guns are for sale. The House would require such checks only on shows with 10 or more vendors, no matter how many guns are for sale. The GOP sponsor of the measure insists he was just trying to make it palatable to pro-gun Republicans.
Because the NRA was not deeply involved, it wasn't slightly involved, it wasn't involved.
What you're seeing on the House side is bipartisan rejection of what the Senate passed.
Since the Senate passed its gun measure, the NRA has had a chance to marshal its forces. It has sent letters to its 2.8 million members warning of the cradle-to-grave massive federal regulatory scheme and urging them to call their congressman.
I'll pass that along to the congressman.
Some key targets are Democrats, like Michigan's Bart Stupak.
I think in the last couple days we're up to right around 400 calls.
Gun control groups are also turning up the heat, lobbying their Democratic allies. But party lines are blurred in the House. Some Democrats will fight for gun owners' rights. Some Republicans want more gun control. One Republican aide told ABC News tonight it will be a miracle if anything passes. Linda Douglas, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Whatever law Congress passes, enforcing it is, of course, another matter. Authorities in Michigan demonstrated that recently with a sting operation. Take a look at what happened when two investigators, one posing as a felon, the other as his friend, tried to buy a gun. Of course, selling it to a felon is illegal.
Okay.
When the manager comes over to check this, it's your gun. You're not purchasing it for him. It's your gun.
Oh, okay, because the manager has to...
Yeah, this is called a straw purchase. It's highly illegal.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. FBI, ATF, I don't know why. It's just, they consider it highly illegal. There you go, guys. Enjoy it. Take care.
I won't care about it.
Prosecutors say out of 10 dealers investigated, 9 allowed the illegal purchases, in all 37 guns. Back on Capitol Hill, a standoff today between the White House and one conservative Republican senator. It is a confrontation that could have big repercussions for President Clinton's nominations, and it is all because Mr. Clinton named a gay man to be ambassador to Luxembourg without Senate confirmation. ABC's John Cochran has more.
For 2 years, the Senate refused to consider the nomination of James Hormel, who was homosexual, to be ambassador to the tiny European nation of Luxembourg. President Clinton got fed up and made the appointment anyway. When Congress is on recess, as it was over the Memorial Day holiday, the president can legally make such appointments. But an angry Republican, James Inhofe, now vows to block all other nominations indefinitely, including Richard Holbrooke for ambassador to the UN and Larry Summers for Treasury Secretary.
Would you actually hold up the nominations of people like the Secretary of the Treasury, the Ambassador to the United Nations?
Yes.
Wouldn't you worry about the impact on the nation's
No, because the ball is not in my court.
Inhofe says he objects to Hormel because he would advance a gay agenda.
I think anyone who takes his own agenda into an ambassadorship instead of America's agenda is wrong.
The White House denies that Hormel would do that and says the senator's objection is not about what Hormel would do, but what he is.
Because he's gay. The president thinks that's wrong and discriminatory.
Senator Inhofe will try to stop other nominations unless the president promises in writing not to make any more recess appointments. But the senator concedes he cannot stop Hormel's appointment. He will become America's first openly gay ambassador. John Cochran, ABC News, Washington.
On the money tonight, with the unemployment rate at a 30-year low, many employers say they just can't find enough workers. Enter the teenagers. As ABC's Lisa Salters reports, summer jobs for young people have never been this good.
Last year, 17-year-old Jad Smith was making minimum wage behind the cash register at a fast food restaurant. This summer, he's earning $8.50 an hour, preparing investment presentations for Charles Schwab.
I would never think I would ever be working for a big corporation like this.
Schwab has hired 350 high school students to fill essential job openings this summer, 70% more teenagers than last year.
They go to staffing meetings, they go to strategy meetings, so it's truly involving them in the process, not just giving them a menial job.
Because of the tight labor market, other companies will also be relying on student workers over the next few months, making it difficult for traditional summer employers, like fast food restaurants, to compete.
Nothing wrong working at Burger King, but that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Instead, students are being heavily recruited for much more attractive positions. Most of these teenagers in a high school law class will be working in law offices this summer. Other students will be putting their computer training to use.
This summer I'll be working with a high-tech company.
According to labor statistics, more than 8 million teenagers will join the workforce this summer. That number is only slightly higher than last year. But what has changed dramatically is that in many parts of the country, students don't have to go searching for work. The work is searching for them.
You guys looking for summer jobs?
The demand for workers is so great that many employers are holding job fairs at high schools, and they are wooing students with grown-up salaries.
$6 to $8 an hour? Some of them go up to $10 an hour.
Not bad for a 17-year-old. Lisa Salters, ABC News, San Francisco.
Checking stocks on Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 75 points to close at 10,690. But on the NASDAQ, stocks were up 44 points. In Texas today, former President George Bush took the plunge again just days before his 75th birthday. Mr. Bush jumped from more than 12,000 feet, landing on the lawn of his presidential library. He said he'd like to try it again at 80 if, quote, Barbara lets me. In a moment, going beyond pills to treat mental illness if you can afford it. We'll take a closer look.
Introducing Benecol.
My doctor said I need to watch my cholesterol, but it's hard.
Now there's new hope for millions of people concerned about their cholesterol. Benecol. It's a completely new kind of product used in place of butter or margarine. Studies show that Benecol actually helps promote healthy cholesterol levels.
It really tastes good. And it's good for my cholesterol?
I'd use it.
Benecol isn't just low in cholesterol, it actually promotes healthy cholesterol levels.
New Benecol, now available. Nancy will have to see from near to far almost 1,000 times today. Her eyes will focus on 40 labels, 60 charts, and 100 smiles. And in all that time, she'll never once think about the science that allows her to focus instantly at all distances. Nancy just knows that her Verilux lenses help her see better. And for her, that's a very comforting thought. Verilux, the comfort of better vision. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-VERILUX.
Summer. Time to get busy with Red Lobster's 30 shrimp dinner for $9.99. Two choices, 30 shrimp, $9.99. Escape to Red Lobster.
It's barbecue season, the busiest time of the year for your deck, which is why you should protect it with Thompson's Wood Protector. Nothing we make works harder, longer. For rain, sun, mildew, or low-flying meat, Thompson's Wood Protector, it never takes a day off.
I'm 64. Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
This week we've been looking at the nation's state of mind, mental health in America. 1 out of 5 Americans suffers from some form of mental illness every year. But according to the National Institute of Mental Health, up to 90% of these people could improve or recover completely if they get the right treatment. And there is a wide range of medications and therapies available now. Tonight, we are going to take a closer look at the issue of the right treatment. What patients need and what HMOs are willing to pay for are often two completely different things. Here's ABC's Jane Clayson.
They may be easier, quicker, cheaper, but pills are not always better when treating mental illness. Rona Fishman believes it. After a violent attack triggered memories of an abusive childhood, she was afraid to leave her home. Fishman was finally starting to heal in her second year of psychotherapy when her HMO stopped her treatment. They offered an antidepressant instead.
It felt like dismissal. It felt like, okay, we'll give Rona a pill. She'll be happy, she'll be de-stressed, and she won't bug her family physician, and we won't have to pay for her therapy.
This woman's HMO preferred to pay for a half dozen tranquilizers and antidepressants rather than full-time therapy for her post-traumatic stress disorder. So she paid for therapy herself, spending a substantial part of her income.
About 20%, over $2,000 is either that or just go crazy.
Psychologist Paul Ling claims that nearly 60% of his patients have to pay for therapy out of their own pockets.
because their HMOs will only pay for pills.
It's essentially not a scientific decision, but an economic one. It's a lot cheaper to give people pills than to allow them to participate in an ongoing psychotherapy.
But pills are not always more effective. In fact, study after study has shown for some disorders, therapy is just as effective as medication. For others, therapy is actually more effective. And in some cases, the combination of pills and therapy gets the best result.
These psychological interventions can actually change the way the brain functions, and that's how they have their therapeutic effect.
But HMO policies have not caught up with science. In the past 10 years, cutting therapy has helped cut the average cost of HMO mental health spending by more than 50%, which means patients must spend their own money if they or their doctors believe therapy is the better choice. 6 years and $30,000 later, Rona Fishman says psychotherapy has made her not just mentally, but physically healthier.
Headaches and insomnia and night sweats and fevers of unknown origin and dizziness and I don't have that kind of problem anymore.
And no need for any kind of pill. That is real savings. Jane Clayson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Overall, Americans spend about $55 billion every year on therapy and medication. That's all we have from here for now. Let's return to Peter Jennings now with more from Macedonia.
Well, when we come back, when refugees are one day closer to going home, why do they want to go so far away? In just a moment.
Welcome to HelpCore, the service specialists. All of our operators are currently assisting other customers. Please hold. If this is an alert, welcome to please hold.
Before you go here, go here. Whether you want immediate answers or help, at go.com, the solution is always available.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, you can go as far as you want. We'll always be right down the lane. Days Inn. There you go.
I never met a dog I didn't like, which is a good thing, considering some of the occupational hazards my friends put me through. This is mine. This is Herman. Ooh, what do we have here? A tick. That's why I choose Frontline for these guys. Frontline's the best, because it's the only one that protects them from fleas and disease-causing ticks, too. Sorry I kept you waiting, no matter who your best friend happens to be.
For fleas and ticks, veterinarians choose the Frontline of protection.
Okay, one more time. Up.
I have the power to find the quickest route across town, to get tickets to the hottest shows, and reserve a table for two at virtually any restaurant. I drive an Escalade, the only luxury SUV with the executive assistance of OnStar Standard.
OnStar, how can I help you?
I have the power to make obstacles obsolete.
Escalade, it's good to be the Cadillac. There are at least 100 questions every home buyer should ask. Like, how much down payment do I need? Can I buy a $200,000 home with an FHA loan? Do I really need homeowners insurance? Luckily, HUD's FHA has the answers. We've helped 25 million Americans buy a home. Call for a free brochure.
When some people have allergies, they sneeze a lot. Others get an itchy, runny nose or nasal congestion. Me, I had it all. So I said to my doctor, enough already. He prescribed Flonase nasal spray.
Multi-symptom Flonase once a day relieves all nasal allergy symptoms. In fact, it's the #1 prescribed nasal allergy spray for any or all of those nasal symptoms.
All it takes is Flonase.
Even kids as young as 4 can use Flonase. For best results, Flonase must be used daily. Call to learn more or ask your doctor. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. For nasal allergy relief, ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase.
When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
Customer service? Yeah. No need to check. We always have that in stock. Come on down. We're open till 7.
Before you go here, go here. Whether you're checking stock or arranging delivery, at go.com, your time is yours.
Tonight, accused of murder.
They kicked and beat him like they wanted to kill him.
These men fled the country to escape the law. 2020 found them, but will justice ever be done? 2020, tonight at 10, 9 Central.
Finally this evening, from here in Macedonia, why leave now? It is a question for thousands of Kosovo refugees who know, as we do, that this war is on the verge of being over, and yet who are absolutely determined to get out of here altogether and go to some other country. There is always a group of refugees looking at notice boards to see if they've been given the right of passage to another country. Here were the Ramadani brothers, one of them a doctor, who wanted to go to Australia. What do you know about Australia?
It's paradise.
It's paradise? Yes. Australia's paradise. The Human Evacuation Program, it's called, created under pressure from Macedonia, which doesn't want these people here. And now it's become something of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
In the first few weeks of refugees arriving in Macedonia, most of them were interested in returning to their homes. And now all they can talk about is going to third countries.
Today, more people want to go somewhere else than there are places that will have them. The bus for America is waiting, and there's a problem. Abdul Plana and his brother have both applied for the U.S., but only Abdul and his family are on the list for today.
There's a mistake. We wanted to go together.
Sometimes there's a genuine mistake, but many refugees manipulate the system. One family member applies to go to one country, another family member signs up for somewhere else. It's called maximizing your options.
Where's the kid?
For whatever reason people go, some are fed up with the camps, others suddenly see an opportunity for a better life than they had in Kosovo. There was almost a riot the other night when UN employees were accused of favoritism. There is nothing dignified about this. And why did you apply to go to the United States? She just applied. She's alone with 3 children. She has no idea where they'll end up. Many refugees will only know their destination when they're handed a plastic shopping bag that has the city written on it, like an airline claim check. Chicago, Rochester, New York, Washington, D.C. In every city, they'll be met by a sponsor about whom they know nothing. Atlanta, Boston, utter strangers in a strange land. At least one human rights organization is very concerned about sending people off without telling them all the circumstances. Some are sent where they don't want to go. But there is, said one refugee specialist, an hysteria to leave. Kosovo is spreading its identity throughout the world. Or is it losing its identity in flight? And that is our report on World News Tonight. We'll be here again tomorrow. NATO troops will be going into Kosovo momentarily. For those of you who are curious, that bridge behind me in the capital Skopje has been standing since the 6th century. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night from Macedonia.
Tomorrow, as a powerful politician strong-armed this small town, will this multi-million-dollar project be built? It's your money. Watch ABC's World News Tonight.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com, now a part of the Go Network.
Tonight, something strange is going on at Drew's work.
Today is We Love Drew Carey Day.
What? Could Drew finally be on top of the world?
Oh my God, I never even made it to work. I'm home dead on my toilet.
And what exactly is Ryan doing to the back of Drew's head? Watch Whose Line Is It Anyway after the Drew Carey Show. See you tonight on ABC.
Now, News 2 at 6. First, fast, accurate.
The long legal saga of Perry March takes yet another turn. Good evening, everyone. Nearly 3 years ago now, the former Nashville lawyer loomed as the prime suspect in his wife's disappearance.
And now a court battle heats up over his in-laws' visitation of the 2 March children. The battle unfolds in Chicago, where March moved after his wife's disappearance. In fact, a decision is being made in a courtroom there right now. News 2's Jay Korf has more.
Chicago's Midway Airport has become an all too familiar sight for Carolyn and Lawrence Levine of Nashville. They're back in Chicago for the